2057 formation, rune formation. 2057 formation, rune formation. These two divine emperors were depressed. They thought there would be plenty of treasure in the valley, but they haven't found anything in here. They only became happy when they saw Small Ginseng. Small Ginseng was Ice Ginseng King and had been with the Bitter Bamboo and Chaos Tree for so long. How could these two let Small Ginseng go? They were one Tao Molding Divine Emperor and one Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Both of them knew Yi Mo. They glanced each other and saw Small Ginseng not move behind Yi Mo. They already believed it was Yi Mo's. So this Ice Ginseng King is Brother Yes. Sorry for the offense. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor said. Yi Mo nodded, and he got less angry. After all, Small Ginseng was extremely precious. It was normal that they wanted it before seeing him. However, the Tao Molding Divine Emperor didn't stop there. He said, I've been stuck at Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor for countless years. I was thinking of getting something good in the valley and break through to Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but I find anything here. Yi Mo frowned and thought, what does this have to do with me? The Tao Molding Divine Emperor took out a storage ring and said, Brother Yi, I have 1,000,000 God crystals here. I don't need this if I don't break through. I want to give these to Brother Yi. Thank you, although I like God crystals, but I don't accept free things. Please go. Yi Mo said. Yi Mo knew how fast Small Ginseng was. Since he stayed here, it meant there was something strange here. After the two were gone, he would ask Small Ginseng. Hearing this, the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor frowned before the Tao Molding Divine Emperor spoke. His force rose and Tao rune flowed. Clearly he was very unhappy with what Yi Mo said. This place wasn't Yi Mo's. What right did he have to tell them to go? Yi Mo knew they were unhappy about this. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor smiled. Of course we would leave here. It's no rush. Of course, I'm not giving these God crystals for free. I want to negotiate with Brother Yi. Your Ice Ginseng King is already missing an arm. It's probably from a deal with someone. I don't want much. I just want one leg of the Ice Ginseng King. Brother Yi, piss off. Yi Mo couldn't control his anger anymore. This guy was still after Small Ginseng. Small Ginseng was no immortal spirit herb to Yi Mo. He was alive to Yi Mo. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor's face changed, and he released a blue spear. I gave you face, but you didn't take it. Now it's not up to you if you want to sell or not. Brother Jingy, watch out for me. I want to see what he has to be cocky for. Yi Mo knew what this guy meant. He was inviting that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor to attack together. Yi Mo attacked with Zisu before he finished. Since they were going to fight, Yi Mo would attack first. After Zisu hacked out 2 twisted sword runes, it fused with Yi Mo's domain, forming a new space domain binding. Only one sword rune attacked, that Tao Molding Divine Emperor. The other rune hung above Yi Mo's head, twisting with lethal force as though ready to charge at that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. At the same time, 5 lightning spear destruction appeared out of nowhere, carrying heaven-shocking lightning. Yi Mo didn't need to use Great Primordial God rune against a Tao Molding Divine Emperor. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor had seen the terror of that falling mark sword rune. Now that one was about to attack him. Clearly he didn't have the effort to mind that Tao Molding Divine Emperor. He immediately released his magic artifact to prevent the rune from falling on him. He was also unhappy. Although he was partner with that Tao Molding Divine Emperor, he should at least ask him before attacking Yi Mo. While the Tao Molding Divine Emperor was bound by domain, he could only barely release his blue spear. Rumble! The twisted sword rune smashed away the spear. Before the Tao Molding Divine Emperor could break free from all of this, the 5 lightning spear destruction came. In the shine of lightning, the Tao molding divine emperor's essence spirit didn't even come out and was pinned to death by the 5 lightning spear destruction. The next moment, the Tao molding divine emperor's storage ring and the 1,000,000 god crystals fell into Yimo's hands. The Tao nourishment divine emperor stared at Yimo with a pale face. If Yimo didn't ambush that Tao actualization divine emperor, he would even think Yimo was Tao essence divine emperor. He used just one move to kill a Tao molding divine emperor. He could definitely not defend against such means. Brother Yi, I was too rash. Goodbye. The Tao nourishment divine emperor immediately fled. Yimo looked at this and sneered, but he didn't chase the Tao nourishment divine emperor. Seeing that Tao nourishment divine emperor, Small Ginseng said without Yimo needing to ask, "Boss, it's here. There's a natural formation. I just found it, and those 2 guys came." Yimo rejoiced. The God Spirit range left by Wooding Old Man wouldn't be ordinary. He even hoped that extreme grade God Spirit range would appear. With Small Ginseng leading the way, Yimo soon found the entrance to the natural formation, but after Small Ginseng walked a few steps, he could no longer go forward. Small Ginseng lost sense of direction inside the formation too. Wait. Yimo stopped Small Ginseng. Yimo threw out a few formation flags and pointed at the formation runes. Wooding Old Man is very powerful. He found this natural formation and then set a stealth and defense formation inside it. You can't find the way because this formation is set with formation runes. I've just learned such things. Go to the Golden Page world. I can handle this here. After Small Ginseng went in, Yimo started to derive Wooding Old Man's formation. He kept throwing out his own formation flags. As time went on, a subtle space passage appeared before Yimo went in and threw out more formation flags. The deeper he went, the more sophisticated Yimo felt this formation was. Meanwhile, this formation became clearer. A few days later, there was another crack, and the scene before Yimo brightened up. The stealth things cleared up. A narrow stairway appeared before him. The stairway was ancient and lead to some unknown place, but the dense god spirit chi seeping out made Yimo realize that this stairway led to the core of the Wooding Valley. It was the source of god spirit chi. Yimo realized that Wooding Old Man purposely made the formation go from easy to hard so that people who came in here could learn. If it was the extremely complex formation, then it would be many years later that he came in. Realizing this, Yimo quickly bowed. Thank you, Qin Bei, for leaving behind this formation. Wan Bei benefited greatly. Yimo sped across the long stairway, and a huge palace appeared before him. There were just a few spirit barrier formations and nothing else. When Yimo walked into the palace, he was very shocked. The extremely dense god spirit chi seeping out made him feel very clear-minded. What shocked him was the god spirit ranges he saw here. 18 god spirit range were laid out. Many were joined up with formation flags and formation runes. Clearly, these god spirit ranges supplied god spirit chi for the entire valley. Yimo walked forward a few steps, and more than 10 god spirit ranges made light cracks and turned to dust in this palace. Yimo sighed and wasn't too surprised. He felt this was the situation when he came in. Their level was high, but not many could remain after the countless years. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2058 Arousing Envy. 2058 Arousing Envy. Yimo waved out a palm wind and swept away all those god spirit range that turned to dust. The remaining 5 god spirit range instantly showed. Yimo put his hand on one of them. Pure god spirit chi came. Yi Mo immediately knew this was a top-grade God Spirit range. The remaining 5 were used a lot, but top-grade God Spirit range was much more useful to him than low-grade God Spirit range. Yi Mo sighed. Because this place was sealed, the dissipated God Spirit range couldn't replenish instant-second God Spirit chi. From the placements of these God Spirit ranges, Yi Mo guessed that those God Spirit ranges that turned to dust might be extreme grade God Spirit range. Yi Mo took away the few remaining God Spirit range, and the palace suddenly dimmed. Then there were cracking sounds. The palace was collapsing. Yi Mo dashed out of the palace rapidly. Countless dust and stones were stirred up. Yi Mo waved his hand, and they formed a huge whirlpool that was soon compressed into a ball. After the palace disappeared, the formation disappeared too. Yi Mo's line of sight cleared up. Yi Mo finally realized that there was nothing in the valley and why the extreme grade God Spirit ranges were used up. There was a huge herb mountain in front of him. It was completely lush green, and there were God Spirit herbs or top immortal spirit herbs everywhere. With this many things growing on this mountain, it would be strange if the God Spirit ranges weren't used up. It seemed the best things were on this God herb mountain. He risked his life to go into the Mu Hua God mountain and got less than 1% of what was here. This was definitely Wooding Old Man's herb garden. Yi Mo glanced past these God Spirit herb, and his eyes eventually set on a blue fruit tree. It had tens of dark gray fruits. This was Yi Mo's first time seeing such fruit. When his spirit sense landed on the fruits, he almost called out in shock. This was definitely a Tao fruit. The powerful Tao wave and Law Chi made Yi Mo very certain. Yi Mo felt a sense of familiarity from the fruit. There were subtle runes on the fruit that contained endless Tao wave law. It was the Tao wave law of great primordial God rune. Yi Mo suppressed his excitement. This was definitely the Tao fruit Wooding Old Man used to learn great primordial God rune. If he got these Tao fruits, knowledge of great primordial God rune would rise to an unbelievable level. No wonder his great primordial God rune was hard to break through. It seemed he needed these dark gray fruits. Yi Mo immediately threw out formation flags to take away this God Spirit herb mountain, but he soon found he couldn't take it away. When a few figures appeared in Yi Mo's spirit sense, he became worried. He could tell people were drawn over by the God Spirit chi and God Spirit herbs here. Yi Mo couldn't care about taking this entire mountain. This old guy wanted to take him out, but was scared his old bones couldn't handle his great primordial God rune. Thank you for helping Sister Shintong, Yi Mo said. Gon Shintong smiled. I haven't heard people call me sister in years. It's fresh, but I like it. Yi Mo, it seems that Muhan feels threatened by you. Yi Mo nodded. That guy is a hypocrite. He originally wanted to ambush me, but was scared by me and thus didn't attack. Gon Shintong didn't ask about the details and just said, then I'm going first. Be careful. No one was dumb as Tao actualization divine emperors. She believed the pale-faced man a bit. She might have some relations to Yi Mo. And now that she didn't want to disturb them. Sister Shintong, are you going to the life-crippling restriction grounds? Yi Mo quickly saked. Gon Shintong said, casually, my cultivation level is too low to go there. I suggest you don't go now, too. If you don't reach Tao Essence Divine Emperor, it's 90% of death going there. You wouldn't even be able to pass the life-crippling bridge, much less the forbidden grounds. I have to go elsewhere to seek Tao Essence opportunity. Once I reach Tao Essence, I will go check it out. Yi Mo took out that Tai Chi abstruse water nail to Gon Shintong. Sister Shintong, I don't have much, but I have quite some magic artifact. I don't have any use for this. You can have it. Great magic artifact. Gon Shintong's spirit sense scanned the nail casually and immediately knew it was extraordinary. Thank you, Brother Yi. I lack such a magic artifact. Gan Shintong was straightforward, and she liked this magic artifact, so she accepted it. After taking it, she glanced at Ji Shi and then saluted with her fists. I'm leaving. We'll meet again in the god Necropolis domain. Then Gan Shintong turned to leave. Yi Mo knew that she definitely had business with him. He had business with her too. The gourd was in her hands. He only had a gourd bottom. If he got the entire gourd, he would have a truly powerful magic artifact. Let's do a deal. I'll still take you to the life, crippling forbidden grounds, and you give me the gourd bottom. If we see Jian Kuei on the way, help me rob the blue bottle. She saw Yi Mo look at her and said, Yi Mo sneered, I have to give the gourd bottom to you and help you get back the blue bottle. And all I get is to stay with you, right? Are you very aromatic? I need to stay with you? I'm not chasing you. Why should I let you have all the benefits? I said I'll take you to the life, crippling forbidden grounds. She's face looked bad. Sorry, I can go there myself. I don't need your help. Yi Mo said. There was a sliver of scorn in her eyes. You were using an excuse to stay with me before. Why don't you keep using excuses? You said you didn't know where it was, but now you know. You really change your words quick. Yi Mo couldn't be bothered explaining Kong Chengtian to him, and said, Shi, give me the gourd, and you can say what conditions you have. She wobbled and disappeared in a white light. Her voice remained, bring Jian Kuei's blue bottle, and you can exchange for the gourd. Otherwise, no deal. In a short while, this place became cold and desolate again. Yi Mo didn't care. He was going to find a place and check out that gray rune fruit to see if it really helped him cultivate great primordial god rune. He had tested the great primordial god rune's power many times. With his current power, he can use great primordial god rune to surely take out a Tao nourishment divine emperor. If this Tao fruit could improve his great primordial god rune to another level, then he wouldn't even fear Tao actualization divine emperor. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2060 Yimo encounter Dead City. 2060 Yimo encounter Dead City great primordial Tao rune fruit. Yimo opened his eyes and looked at his empty palm. He was enlightened by that fruit, and it disappeared. He learned that the fruit was called Great Primordial Tao Rune Fruit. For those who didn't cultivate the Great Primordial God Rune, the fruit was worthless, but after using this Tao fruit, Yimo could clearly feel his God Rune become clearer. It was still 2 runes, but its power was completely different to before. This fruit was indeed for cultivating the Great Primordial God Rune. Yimo was very happy. He planted that fruit tree into the Golden Page world. The tree had 56 fruits in total. If he used them all, he believed his Great Primordial God Rune would become an extremely powerful great god art. Yimo spent a year or so using the Great Primordial God Rune fruit. Yimo didn't use Time Formation Disc, as he feared it would affect him learning the Tao laws inside. Then, on the way to the life-crippling forbidden grounds, Yimo kept practicing his god art while improving his Great Primordial God Rune. His god art and Great Primordial God Rune improved rapidly. It couldn't let him reach Tao nourishment divine emperor, but the powerful feeling of the god art settled Yimo's mind. He just used 5 great primordial god rune fruits and stopped. Before he increased his cultivation level, using more of the fruits would at most make his great primordial god rune a little stronger. It couldn't help him form more runes. This was a waste. While Yimo was still in God, Necropolis domain, Yimo was flying rapidly in a place in Wenju heaven. When the first immortal city appeared in Yimo's spirit sense, she was extremely excited. She finally saw her first immortal city after immortal ascension. She didn't even know how she ascended. She just remembered she was in the west extreme state Sand River and suddenly felt the chi of immortal ascension. She could only leave a messenger flying sword and was swept away by the immortal ascension spirit cloud. Then she appeared on this ruin. She suspected it was an ancient battleground. Luckily, she had experienced all sorts of things on Luoyu continent and wasn't scared. She just left the ruins immediately and flew for a few days before seeing her first city. When Yimo saw this city, she immediately became happy. She hadn't seen an immortal yet since immortal ascension. Since there was a city here, there must be immortals. She could ask them about the immortal realm. But as she came near the city, she felt more worried. This immortal city was lifeless. The immortal realm was different to the cultivation realm. In the cultivation realm, she had enough power to deal with anything, but in the immortal realm, her power was at the very bottom. When she came outside the city, she could still see the world's Bingqiong immortal city. There was not a single person at the city gates. Yimo carefully neared the city gates. She wasn't afraid of death, but being devoured by such bug was too disgusting. The 9-headed void devouring bug just devoured everything in the city and then opened instant second mouth towards Yimo. The powerful space collapse made Yimo fall into despair. She couldn't stop this at all. Before she could show her despair, a 30 kilometers long dark red beam smashed over. Yimo felt the suction force disappear from her, and then she saw a gray figure arrive with that long sword ray. Seeing this sword light, the bug immediately swept into a whirlpool and disappeared. The gray figure chased down too. Yimo didn't even see who saved her. She was dazed, but such power. Both the bug and gray figure had heaven-shocking power. Even if her power increased by 10 million times, she was probably no match. Feeling that her life wasn't safe here, Yimo didn't dare to stay, and then released her flying magic artifact and changed a direction and fled. She rejoiced that she didn't stay in the city long, or she would have been devoured already. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2060, One Learn Ice Space. Chapter 2060, One Learn Ice Space. Yimo stopped. What appeared before him was an endless gray desert. There were space crevice ravaging everywhere, as well as the chaotic Tao marks of all sorts of god arts. Yimo's spirit sense crossed in this chaotic place and was instantly grinded to pieces. Some bones were scattered over this desert. Yimo forcefully hacked out a few spirit sense blades. His spirit sense blades fell on these bones and immediately felt this ancient chi. There was powerful Tao waves mixed inside the chi. Yimo knew that these people were very powerful when they were alive. Yimo looked at this place and guessed that he was probably at the outskirts of the life-crippling Forbidden Grounds. This was his Ella Lothier in the god Necropolis domain. 25 years ago, he lost Kong Qingtian's spirit sense marks. He didn't know if something happened to Kong Qingtian or what. Yimo had been in here for this long, and although he couldn't sense the Forbidden Grounds, he could guess the way a bit. Yimo carefully entered this desert and controlled his spirit sense to a 100-meter range. He started to walk along the border of the desert. Some faint space fissures and Tao waves struck him, instantly tearing his clothes open. But his immortal god body immediately formed a faint essence chi barrier. Gradually, he got used to the sword marks on this desert. He could gradually get closer to the inside. At the start, Yimo was thinking about how to use his essence chi barrier, OT block, the near Tao runes. When he was used to the crevice and the Tao mark laws, he was completely immersed in the laws. He needed to learn what he needed from these chaotic Tao laws. In here, the law Tao waves were very impure. Rarely could people separate the God arts they needed from this mess, but Yi Mo could. He saw space law, time law, and five-element law. In these laws, he would empower it to his God art as long as it was beneficial to him. Until one day, he caught a sliver of extreme cold chi. It was just a sliver, but Yi Mo felt the terror of this extreme frost chi. This sliver completely grinded the nearby laws, forming a small space. Yi Mo guessed that as time went on, this sliver of chi would dissipate, but Yi Mo felt another power as this chi. He stopped and completely immersed his spirit sense into the frost. 1 month, 2 months, a few months had passed, but Yi Mo didn't move at all. He just kept waving his hand as Tao waves circulated in his hand before eventually completely sealing this space. Crack! A year later, Yi Mo suddenly roared and released countless hand signs. The space near him froze. This wasn't space law, it was a strange freeze. It was like a pond of water suddenly froze. Then, this pond started to crack from the crack. It was like the entire pond shattered. The Tao laws around Yi Mo disappeared, and the space before him became extremely cold. Such powerful ice god art. Yi Mo murmured. He was certain that the person who left behind such ice god art must be an ancient, powerful ice spirit root being. This god art seemed like space god art, but it was much direct than space god art. Perhaps this type of god art is far weaker than the space god art of a powerful being who was experienced in space law. However, if both people only knew a sliver about space law, then this ice god art was definitely much stronger than ordinary space god art. This ice god art would form a frozen space, which would then crack apart. The things frozen would turn into oblivion. It will be called ice space. Yi Mo said, "No wonder there were that many powerful beings willing to come to God, Necropolis domain. This place was a heaven for Tao seeking. Other than cultivation resource, great primordial god rune, and ice space god art were Yi Mo's greatest learnings in the God Necropolis domain. It was even greater than his Tao vindication. He would eventually vindicate Tao anyways, but God art was something that couldn't be learned without certain fortune and environment. Suddenly, there was this pitiful howl. Yi Mo looked over. All he could see was chaotic, messy laws that entwined in space. He couldn't see what made the howl. Yi Mo didn't check with his spirit sense, as his spirit sense couldn't withstand the broken chi yet. Yi Mo sped up along the direction of the howl. Half a day later, he saw nearly 20 divine emperors. Some were sitting on the ground, some stood and didn't move, and some were floating in space. Yi Mo had been in this desert for a year or two. He knew that these people were here to learn the Tao waves here. The only difference was that most people used magic artifact to protect themselves. Only 3 didn't use any defense magic artifacts. Soon, Yi Mo realized that these people were Tao Essence Divine Emperors. Yi Mo saw 2 familiar people too. One was Mu Han Divine Emperor, and one was Ji Shi. Mu Han Divine Emperor seemed to be learning a god art there. Ji Shi stood by a broad bridge and frowned in contemplation. Even Ji Shi had to take out her 9 lotus stand to protect her. Seeing Yi Mo come, almost everyone was shocked. They were shocked that an immortal emperor came, and one who didn't use any defense magic artifacts. Even the Tao Essence Divine Emperors looked at Yi Mo with some shock, as they couldn't see Yi Mo's real cultivation, level 2. No one believed Yi Mo was an immortal emperor. An immortal emperor would definitely not be able to reach life-crippling desert, nor the life-crippling bridge. One bald old man came up to Yi Mo and studied him for a while before saying, "Tao, friend, nice power. You're probably not far from divine body, right? I'm Gongyang, and what's your name?" As he spoke, The wrinkles on his forehead grew deeper. However, the powerful qi coming from him made Yi Mo realize this man was definitely Tao Essence Divine Emperor, a very powerful one. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Greetings, Tao friend Gongyang. My name is Yi Mo. 2062 Life Crippling Bridge. 2062 Life Crippling Bridge. So this place is the Life Crippling Bridge. Yi Mo purposely said with surprise. Then he said with regret, although I know there's such bridge here, I've never come here before and have only heard of instant second name. Tao friend Gongyang, can you tell me about this bridge and how to enter the life crippling forbidden grounds? She looked at Yi Mo with confusion. She thought about how Yi Mo said he didn't know where the forbidden grounds were. Now, it didn't seem to be lying. How did he find his way here, though? Although it was much later than them, it was still extremely hard. It seems, Tao friend, you really doesn't understand this place. Gongyang laughed. In order to get in the forbidden grounds, you must cross the bridge. The bridge ahead of us is the life-crippling bridge. The river below is the life-crippling river. Yi Mo looked at the life-crippling bridge. The first time he saw the bridge, it seemed very broad. But hearing Gongyang and say he was going to cross the bridge to get to the forbidden grounds, he suddenly found the bridge was very narrow. What was this? Yi Mo carefully checked the life-crippling bridge with spirit sense. He found the bridge was shrouded in mist and had no barricades nor border. Sometimes it looked very broad. Sometimes the life-crippling bridge seems boundless. Sometimes it seems to be a narrow passage. The yin qi on there is shocking. Once you go on the bridge, your soul would be drawn. Those weak-minded wouldn't be able to control themselves. If your soul isn't stable on the bridge, then no matter how powerful your god art is, you can only be a headless fly on the bridge and fall down eventually. Gongyang sighed. What happens if you fall into the river? Yi Mo asked. Just soul annihilation. Another Tao Essence Divine Emperor answered calmly. Yi Mo realized why this many people didn't cross. They were scared of unable to cross. If you want to cross the bridge, you must learn the yin qi on the bridge and fuse your soul into it. That way, you wouldn't be defenseless when you cross it. Seeing the strange position Divine Emperors, Yi Mo realized that they were here not to learn God art, but to learn the yin qi. He wondered if that Sikong Shan crossed the bridge. Yi Mo asked again, Tao friend, Gongyang, have people ever crossed the bridge? Gongyang fell into silence for a moment and said that I don't know. I've never seen someone come out of the life-crippling forbidden grounds. The life-crippling bridge is boundless. If you fall off immediately, we can see it from here, but if you go deep, neither spirit sense nor the eyes can see. Is there only the possibility to leave if you get to the life-crippling forbidden grounds? Yi Mo asked. His spirit sense just felt an extremely yin qi on the bridge. He didn't know if he could cross it too. Gongyang said affirmatively, that's right. Only once you cross the bridge and enter the life-crippling forbidden grounds can you find the opportunity for primordial essence as well as the way out. I've been in the God necropolis domain for all these years and have no other choice, so I want to go try. Yi Mo looked around and knew that most people here thought the same. However, he didn't know why Jishi was here. She had been in here for this short and didn't even reach Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Why was she in a rush to leave? He chatted with Gongyang and for a bit more and didn't waste more of his time. He found a place to learn the bridge too. Yi Mo's spirit sense was different. After spending 100 years in the God necropolis domain, it had reached the 5th level. Spirit will 9 transformations, 5th transformation, realm form. If he was willing, his spirit sense could form a small realm. This realm would be his spirit sense world. Anything that entered this realm would be annihilated by his spirit sense realm. Yi Mo's spirit sense carefully landed on the bridge, but instantly It was completely eroded by Yin Qi. Seeing the other pale faces of the divine emperors, Yi Mo knew their spirit sense was eroded too. Yi Mo ate a dual spirit pill and then formed an extremely small spirit sense barrier on the bridge. His spirit sense wasn't eroded this time, and instead wrapped a gust of Yin Qi. An ancient calling sounded from the bottom of Yi Mo's heart. That calling seemed to have come from hell, making Yi Mo very shocked. There was even a sliver of horror. It was as though there was a warning that if he didn't kneel down and follow what he was told, he would be annihilated. That calling was for him to go on the bridge and jump off. That way he would get eternal life. Even with Yi Mo's firm mind, he couldn't resist such warnings and suppressions. Sweat seeped out of his forehead. The next moment, he released a few spirit sense blades and yelled, "Sever!" A few spirit sense blades sliced out. The Yin Qi in his spirit sense realm was instantly annihilated. Yi Mo breathed and recovered. He took back his spirit sense, and his face was a bit pale. If it wasn't in his spirit sense realm, it would be hard for his spirit sense blades to cut those Yin Qi. You can check the life-crippling bridge with spirit sense and sense it, but before you get used to it, your spirit sense would be taken away by the Yin Qi if you go deep. At the same time, your soul would lose control, and you would charge onto the bridge. Before you, a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor came and charged on the bridge as he jumped off. Ji Shi's voice sounded by Yi Mo's ear. Yi Mo was shook. He just found that Ji Shi was next to him. If Ji Shi was to ambush him, he would be over. "Don't look at me with such expression. No one dares to ambush here. Otherwise, it would cause public outrage, and everyone else would attack him." Ji Shi explained. "Yi Mo sound transmission. Saint Ji Shi, we don't seem to be that good." This means Ji Shi probably knew what was good in the life-crippling forbidden grounds. He would want to share too. Ji Shi said calmly, "How to cross the life-crippling bridge is the heritage from my sect. I can't tell you about it. As for why I need to cross the bridge, I can tell you, because in the countless years of the immortal goddess sacred sect, they have never abandoned a saint unless she died." "Oh, I understand. You were abandoned by the immortal goddess sacred sect, so you're annoyed and want to go back and see what happened?" Yi Mo asked. Ji Shi shook her head. "I'm not annoyed. I'm afraid something happened to the sect, so I have to go back and look. As long as I'm alive, I won't allow anything to happen to the sect." Yi Mo sneered. "If a Tao Essence Divine Emperor annihilated your immortal goddess sacred sect, can you go bite him?" Ji Shi said calmly, "Tao Essence Divine Emperor can't annihilate the immortal goddess sacred sect." She was really confident. Yi Mo didn't want to waste time talking and said, "Give me the gourd, you can enter the lotus stand. I agree to your conditions." "You're crossing the bridge now." Ji Shi was shocked by Yi Mo's words. Yi Mo had only been here for half a day, and he wanted to cross the bridge. This was too absurd. "Of course, if you're not willing, I won't wait for you. I will cross myself." Yi Mo said. He desired to cross the bridge much more. It was unbearable for him to keep staying here. Yi Mo knew that cultivating in the God Necropolis domain was much better than going out, but he didn't feel safe about Mou Immortal Sect. There was also the Luo Yu continent unable to immortal ascension. Did Kaimi solve the problem? He was worried the most about Truth Divine Emperor. Was he reborn? He didn't fear Truth Divine Emperor now, but he was worried about Yi Mo. From Su Jingwen, Yi Mo knew that Yi Mo got Truth Divine Emperor's Immortal Carnage Tower. Regardless if Yi Mo ascended or not, Truth Divine Emperor can probably sense his Immortal Carnage Tower if he was Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. That would be a disaster for Yi Mo. Yi Mo didn't believe that Yi Mo could completely spirit control the Immortal Carnage Tower to prevent Truth Divine Emperor from sensing it. With all this piled up, How could Yi Mo have the mood to cultivate here? Yi Mo saw that Ji she frowned and didn't reply, so he couldn't be bothered waiting for her. Seeing Yi Mo really walk towards the life-crippling bridge, she quickly said, "Wait, I agree, but I can't give you the gourd now. I'll give it to you after we cross the bridge." "Okay," Yi Mo said. Seeing this, she went into her lotus stand, which transformed into a palm-sized lotus and fell into Yi Mo's hand. "Dao friend Yi, you're going on the life-crippling bridge as soon as you got here?" Gongyang asked in shock. Yi Mo said helplessly, "Yes, Dao friend Gongyang, I have some desperate matters to attend to. If I don't go to the life-crippling, forbidden grounds, I might not be able to get out. I know me. If I can't go over now, then I wouldn't be able to get over 100 years later." "Okay, Dao friend Yi, you're a decisive person. We definitely should be friends. But I don't do things as decisively as you." Gongyang and raised his thumb. As though remembering something, he added, "Dao friend Yi, do you have something unfinished? If you fall off the river, and I can do it for you, I will definitely help you." Yi Mo thought. He was originally going to ask Gongyang and to help with the immortal realm, but then he gave up the thought. It wasn't appropriate. "I don't have anything special. Changfei Divine, Dao City, has this Jew dragon god tower that wants to kill me. I'll kill them after I go out this time. If I can't go out, then Dao friend Gongyang can help me with this. I will be very grateful." Yi Mo said. Gongyang and laughed. "This is a small thing. As long as I can get out, it will be on me." Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Then, "Thank you, Dao friend Gongyang. I'll be going first." Then Yi Mo grabbed the lotus and quickly got on the bridge and disappeared into the mist. This Dao friend Yi is a straightforward person. Gongyang and raised his thumb. If it wasn't that he could subtly sense some laws on the bridge, he might have crossed it like Yi Mo. As soon as Yi Mo got on, he was blown by the countless yin qi and felt his essence spirit uncontrollably wobble inside his body. There was nothing he could do. Yi Mo thought of the path she talked about. She said she could contact him, but he didn't feel it. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2064. So close. 2064. So close G11 was also desperate. She found that the means the immortal goddess sacred sect taught her couldn't contact Yi Mo. Yi Mo knew that he couldn't rely on her to point the way, so he stopped. He used his body refinement cultivation method and formed a barrier around his body. The yin qi was blocked by the barrier and weakened. Yi Mo then released a few spirit sense blades and formed a spirit sense realm inside the barrier. Yi Mo breathed easy. Luckily, his spirit will 9 transformations was still useful. When the spirit sense realm formed, Yi Mo's essence spirit no longer floated around. Yi Mo sped up, but as he went further, he felt it harder and harder to hold up the barrier. His spirit sense realm was also squeezed. Later on, his essence spirit became floaty again. Yi Mo breathed and stopped. At this moment, Jishi's voice sounded, "Stand on the yin line, walk along the wall." Jishi just said these words, and her voice fell silent. Clearly, it was very hard for her to even say that. Yi Mo looked at the bridge and really didn't understand what the yin line was. Where was the wall? Crack. Yi Mo's heart sunk. He knew his body refinement barrier had broken. Without it, his spirit sense realm instantly crumbled. 2 lines flashed across Yi Mo's sight. One had an extremely heavy yin qi. Yi Mo didn't have time to look at the other one and stepped on the yin qi fine line. When Yi Mo stepped on this line, he felt that his essence spirit that was almost blown out of his body came back. The extremely yin qi blew past his body. Although there was still some yin qi where he stood, it was much weaker. Yemo breathed easy. This life-crippling bridge was really strange. Although he was Tao molding Divine Emperor, Yi Mo knew that he was on par with even Tao actualization Divine Emperor. Yet with such power, he was defenseless on the life-crippling bridge. Luckily, she gave him a clue. However, he still didn't understand what walking along the wall was. He could only keep walking along the line. He didn't form spirit sense realm again. It was too damaging to him for his spirit sense realm to break. Luckily, he was a body refinement cultivator and had the power of the three-birth chant to allow him to barely protect his essence spirit. The yin line was extremely thin, but as Yi Mo walked, it grew wider and wider, giving Yi Mo the feeling that it was wider than the bridge. Yi Mo didn't dare to keep walking like this. He felt that if he did, he would probably fall into the river soon. Luckily, where he stood had the weakest yin qi. His essence spirit could still feel the powerful calling of the river, but it couldn't make his essence spirit leave his body. Yi Mo forcefully used his spirit sense realm again, and then a long rusty wall suddenly appeared on the line. The wall stretched very long as though to the ends of heaven. Was this walking along the wall? Yi Mo walked along the wall without hesitation. More yin qi blew over, and Yi Mo saw that dark blue color was so close, but it was something he could never reach. Yi Mo looked at the lotus in his hand and threw it over. Whether she lived or died was her fate. He couldn't care. Yi Mo didn't even care that he didn't get the gourd. His life was gone. The yin qi grew heavier. Yi Mo didn't dare to move. If he moved, his essence spirit would be taken by the yin qi. Yi Mo wanted to burn his life, but his essence spirit was floating on the surface on his body. He couldn't even touch the golden page world, much less go in. Just when Yi Mo was about to accept fate, a small crack appeared before him. Yi Mo didn't care anymore. He used all his power to charge into that crack. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2065 Fall in the Zhao Shadow Ranges. 2065 Fall in the Zhao Shadow Ranges. The instant Yi Mo entered that crack, he wanted to go into the golden page world, but there was this terrifying spinning power from the crevice that almost tore him to pieces. If he wasn't a mortal god body peak stage, he would be in pieces now. The serious side effects of burning EB and essence chi began to show. As soon as he used spirit sense, he felt this wave of dizziness. That spinning power grew, but there was nothing he could do. In a short while, he lost consciousness. Only his body refinement cultivation method was running automatically and barely protected his body. Luckily, there was just rotational power here. No space disposition and things. Zhao Shadow Range wasn't very famous in Xinqiang continent, but rarely did people not know. This was because the yin qi here was very heavy and was said to be connected to the underworld. It's said that everyone who died on this continent would go into the underworld from here to be reincarnated. Souls would come here for a while before entering the underworld. Usually, cultivators who died not long ago would stay here for a while. Living people can come here and communicate with the dead. This communication was limited, and it required powerful beings' soul-calling rune to work. Not only so, one must go past the gray forest in here. The gray forest was also a very cold and scary place on the continent. There were large amounts of ghost cultivators and yin souls. Yin souls couldn't enter samsara and thus roam in the gray forests. As for ghost cultivators, they're people who don't want to go through reincarnation. The yin qi was too heavy, and the gravity was extremely heavy too in the gray forest, so ordinary cultivators couldn't fly at all. Thus, It was very hard to cross the forest and come to the Zhao Shadow Ranges. On this continent, everyone knew the ranges was the place to communicate to the dead, but rarely did people talk about it. At this moment, there was a white-robed woman with a 10-year-old boy in the forest. They were rushing forward worriedly. There was a huge light barrier that protected them, and there were unknown things smashing against the barrier. These shadows were very thin. The woman could see with her spirit sense, but the little boy knew nothing. The barrier was getting thinner and thinner. Sister Qiangying, can we really see my brother once we cross this forest? The little boy asked. The white-robed woman nodded. Yes, Hai, we just need to cross this forest, and we can talk to your brother. The boy nodded and sped up. Hai, you must not fight with Peng Xian, and them next time. The woman added. The boy said Peng Xian dared to say that sister slept with Xian High City's mastermeng just to get him to help. I was angry, so I beat him up. The woman's figure paused, and her pale face grew paler, but she sped up. The boy seemed to know that sister was unhappy and didn't speak anymore. Chapter 2066 Familiar People at Shunqiang. Chapter 2066 Familiar People at Shunqiang. How Qiangying greet Qianbei. The white-robed woman bowed to Yi Mo. She then stood waiting for Yi Mo to answer nervously, although Yi Mo looked all too ordinary and didn't have any fierce qi on him. How Qiangying was still very nervous. This person suddenly appeared in here and fell into the swamp, but he could still walk out casually. She was Golden Core State and could only walk at the very border of the ranges. She didn't dare to go in at all. Yi Mo glanced at this woman. Her hair was casually braided. She didn't dress herself up intentionally. Her face was pale and had some nervousness. She looked not bad, but was a far cry compared to Ji Shi and Zhen Bingyu. May I ask, where is this place? Why is there so much yin qi here? Yi Mo asked. Hearing this, how Qiangying finally breathed easy. Yi Mo's tone was rather polite. How Qiangying then realized that Yi Mo's words were a bit strange. Who didn't know this place was the Zhao Shadow Ranges? She then realized again that she shouldn't daze. She bowed and answered, This is Zhao Shadow Ranges. Zhao Shadow Ranges? Is this Luoyu continent? Yi Mo frowned and had a bad feeling. He had never heard of this place on Luoyu continent. How Qiangying wasn't dumb. With this, she immediately realized that Yi Mo wasn't from Xinqiang continent. Thinking about how Yi Mo fell from the sky, how could she not know that this Qian Bei probably came from Luoyu continent? She suppressed her horror and said with even more respectful tone, Qian Bei, this is Xinqiang cultivation realm, not Luoyu continent. Wan Bei had heard of Luoyu continents. It's said that it's a similar place not far from Xinqiang continent. Yi Mo could see her nervousness and smiled. Don't be nervous. I used a space-breaking rune and accidentally came here. Yi Mo didn't want to scare her. If she knew who he really was, she might not even be able to talk. Hearing this, how Qiangying breathed easier. If one used the space-breaking rune, even a Nye Shuang cultivator could cross realms, but those people who had such runes weren't simple. So Yi Mo was still mysterious to her. Why is this forest so bleak? There's no one in 1,000 km radius. What is going on? Yi Mo's spirit sense recovered quickly. It was only 300 kilometers before, but now was beyond 1,000 kilometers. This was him not focusing on recovering too. The chaos tree was indeed absurd. How Qiangying didn't dare to hide it, and quickly said, Qian Bei, this range is the place to seek souls. It's said that it's connected to the underworld. Hearing this, Yi Mo frowned. He felt he landed at a strange place. The life-crippling river and bridge were filled with yin qi and the place of lost souls. It's said that those who fall down would lose their souls and disappear from the universe forever. The swamp here had very dense yin qi, and was the fabled entrance to the underworld. But Yi Emo doubted if this place was related to the divine Tao realm's life-crippling river. Yi Emo had heard of the underworld and knew that it was a very ethereal realm. It's unheard of that someone could enter it. Even if cultivators reincarnated, they could rarely remember anything about the underworld. Yi Mo's cultivation level had dropped quickly, but his power was at least a great unity immortal. He scanned this place with his spirit sense. There's some Yin souls here, but they're all very dazed. I don't see an entrance to the underworld. Is there something wrong with this legend? Even if this fable is right, I'm certain your husband's soul isn't here. Yes, Qianbei, Wanbei knows now. Hao Qiuming said quietly. Regardless if her husband's soul was here or not, she wouldn't be able to summon it. Yi Emo nodded. In that case, take me out. Yi Emo knew someone here. Meng Zhen was from Shunqiong continent, and his disciple Meng Tsang came from here too. Meng Qi was also at Shunqiong continent. Meng Zhen and Meng Tsang had ascended, and were at MOU Immortal Sect now, but Meng Qi hadn't ascended. He could go find her. When he recovered his power, he could cover the continent instantly. Then Yi Mo seemed to realize his words weren't too polite, so he added, "When you go out, I will give you something. You won't do it for free." Hao Qiuming quickly said, "Qianbei, Wanbei should take Qianbei out. I don't dare to take Qianbei's things. But there's many Yin souls in the forest and some ghost cultivators. If Yi Mo smiled, "It's fine. Just lead the way. They won't dare to come." Yes, Hao Qiuming couldn't have gone out alone, and now that Yi Mo told her not to worry, she was willing to take him out even more. "Qianbei, my sister was tricked. Can you help her and teach that person a lesson?" The boy suddenly said, "Hey, don't say that." Hao Qiuming quickly stopped. She was afraid that if her brother-in-law offended Yi Mo, it would be over. Yi Mo took out a storage ring and gave it to the boy. "You need to get revenge yourself. You're already qi gathering middle stage. I'll give you a storage ring. There's cultivation method in here and some resources. When you're strong, get revenge yourself." "Thank you, Qianbei," Hao Qiuming said. The three walked into the gray forest, and Hao Qiuming became nervous. She sped up, as she didn't want to stay here one extra minute. 5 minutes later, she was confused. When she passed the forest, many shadows dashed on her barrier. Now, there was no barrier, but they didn't see any Yin souls nor ghost cultivators. Yi Mo was Divine Emperor, and even though his power decreased a lot, his Divine Emperor domain was still there. With such domain expanding out, what dared to get close? Even if they did, they would turn to dust. With Hao Qiuming's power, she wouldn't even be able to sense Yi Mo's domain. Yi Mo wasn't too unlucky, and neither was Ji Shi. Instead, she closely got near where the magic artifact landed with her flying sword. At the same time, in the sect leader palace of a mortal goddess sacred sect, a few women sat on the side with one purple-robed woman sitting in the middle. She was the sect leader, Ji Sini. "Yunhuai, tell me about what you think. Xiaoyan is only great extreme immortal middle stage now. Even if she is to reach immortal king, she would need 100 years. The great sun god mountain is too desperate. Our immortal goddess sacred sect already agreed to their request. What else do they want? Is our saint that worthless?" The purple-robed woman sneered. Yunhuai said respectfully, "Sect leader, during these years our immortal goddess sacred sect has fallen quickly, but the great sun god mountain has risen quickly. If the Suyu divine Tao still existed, they could take on great sun god mountain, but Suyu divine Tao is more declined than us. Their sect is in rubbles. No wonder the great sun god mountain is so cocky. The primordial essence war didn't involve the Suyu Divine Tao. No one dares to fight there. Their annihilation is probably related to the Great Sun God Mountain, right? One Tao Actualization Divine Emperor said. Yunhui said Martial Sister Nanshuang is right. It's said that the Suyu Divine Tao had a disciple called Duanmu Yuerong. His talent was unparalleled. He reached the highest primordial essence Great Tao in a mere tens of thousands of years, and then left the Suyu Divine Tao and opened a realm to connect to the underworld. The greatest suspect for annihilating Suyu Divine Tao was the Great Sun God Mountain. After they did that, they didn't do anything else. The reason they waited till now was because they were scared Duanmu Yuerong would come back. But after countless years, Duanmu Yuerong never came back. Something probably happened to him as he opened the tunnel to the underworld. That's why the Great Sun God Mountain has no fear and is now attacking us immortal goddess sacred sect. Nanshuang got up and said, Sect leader, regardless, our immortal goddess sacred sect is the #1 sect of the divine Tao realm now. Even if our power isn't as great as the Great Sun God Mountain who hides in the dark, isn't it too insulting for us to give our saint to the Great Sun God Mountain? No matter how strong they are, it doesn't mean the immortal goddess sacred sect is scared of them. The Suyu Divine Tao wasn't scared of them and robbed the word Tan from their sect name. We don't need to be scared of them too. Nanshuang's words were very impolite. The sect leader frowned, but didn't say anything. Yunhui sneered, Martial Sister Nanshuang. You know that Mu Xiaoyan is just a temporary substitute saint, right? The reason we chose her was for her to stay at the immortal goddess peak for 100 years and sacrifice for our sect. And it's too rude for you to be talking to the sect leader like this. Even if you didn't cultivate, you would have more temperament and better cultivation talent staying there. Mu Xiaoyan could see that Ji Shi was even more powerful than her master. She quickly answered, Wanbei Mu Xiaoyan is now the saint of the immortal goddess sacred sect. You're the new saint? So it's you? Ji Shi looked at Mu Xiaoyan dazedly. She could feel that Mu Xiaoyan was no longer a virgin. How could the sect let someone like her be the saint? This saint wasn't even status immortal yet. This was absurd. Ji Shi frowned and suddenly waved up a few restrictions and said to Mu Xiaoyan, Xiaoyan, tell me how you became the saint and what the sect leader did. Mu Xiaoyan wasn't dumb. Ji Shi was this powerful and pretty. With how she kept talking about the saint, she guessed some things. After Ji Shi set up the restriction, she checked Ji Shi with her spirit sense boldly and found that she indeed had similar chi to him. Mu Xiaoyan instantly realized that the flame the sect leader took from the soul lamp didn't go out. This woman was probably the previous saint. Ji Shi knew this, but she didn't stop it. She wanted to tell Mu Xiaoyan she was the last saint. Mu Xiaoyan, greet Sister Saint. Mu Xiaoyan quickly bowed. Ji Shi nodded. Tell me everything you know. I won't blame you. Yes, Mu Xiaoyan said. After hearing Mu Xiaoyan's story, Ji Shi frowned. Xiaoyan, you're saying that the sect leader took out my lamp when it was still lit and forcefully lit up yours. Mu Xiaoyan fell silent. That's what she said before. What are you doing at the prison door mountain? Ji Shi asked. The sect leader used half my soul to light up the land. My master tried to argue for me. Later, she was judged to be locked in there for 100 years. I came to see my master. If it wasn't for Martial Uncle Yunhui, I wouldn't be saint and master wouldn't be in there. Mu Xiaoyan said slowly. Ji Shi frowned even more and fell into a long silence. Why was half your soul used? Did it only take a sliver of spirit will to light it up? Mu Xiaoyan didn't answer, and Ji Shi didn't need her to answer. She sighed and said, Marital Uncle Qilan is in here. I'm going to see her. She glanced at Mu Xiaoyan and said, Shaoran, did you mean that you want me to become a saint again? You know, if I tell this to Marshal Uncle Yunhui, you would be dead for sure. Mu Xiaoyun wasn't worried at all. I never wanted to be saint. If I didn't have to see my husband, so what if I died? Hearing this, She looked at Mu Xiaoyun with greater light. Where is your husband? She didn't understand Mu Xiaoyun's feelings, but still asked. He's in a mortal realm. I don't know if he reached Golden Core state or not. If not, I'm afraid. Mu Xiaoyun thought that even if she gave the same position to Yi Mo might not be alive. She could no longer control her sorrow. She was scared that she wouldn't be able to see Yi Mo again. She was ranked second for the top 3 prodigies of the continent. Hao Qiuming was full of respect. Yi Mo calmed down his excitement and asked in confusion, Xiaoyun's cultivation speed is that fast. How is she only ranked second? Who is the first? Hao Qiuming immediately knew that Yi Mo was close to Mu Xiaoyun, or he wouldn't call her Xiaoyun. Hao Qiuming quickly answered. The first is a solo cultivator called Dongfang Wang. He's very mysterious, but his talent is absurd. He didn't join any sect and ascended to the immortal realm in a short time. What? Yi Mo almost got up. He never was able to find Dongfang Wang. He didn't expect this bastard ran to Xinqiang continent. Not only so, he also ascended to the immortal realm. When he returned to the immortal realm, he would kill this Dongfang Wang immediately. Yi Mo knew how powerful Dongfang Wang was. The 3 brothers were the best tacticians. Dongfang Wang was the best among the 3. Now, even his cultivation speed was this fast. He would be a greater threat in the future. He would have to annihilate him before he grew strong. Seeing Yi Mo his face sink when he heard Dongfang Wang, Hao Qiuming didn't dare to keep talking. Seeing Hao Qiuming was a bit scared, Yi Mo waved his hand. Don't be scared. Don't call me Qianbei. I'm Yi Mo. Yes, Marshal Brother Yi. Hao Qiuming said respectfully. Who is the 3rd prodigy? Yi Mo asked. Hao Qiuming answered. A prodigy from Ling Shao sect Mang Tsam. All 3 Qian Bais had ascended to the immortal realm. Yi Mo was speechless. He actually knew all 3. When Yi Mo asked about Meng Zhen or Meng Qi, Hao Qiuming didn't know. After asking for the whereabouts of Lotus Glory sect, Yi Mo stopped asking. He had decided to recover his injuries first at the Xian High City, and then go to the sect and ask about Xiaoyun. Yi Mo knew that the reason Xiaoyun was a prodigy was 1 due to her pure wood spirit root, and 2nd due to the primordial chaos chant. He left her. When he first got it, Yi Mo didn't care about the cultivation method. He thought Meng Qian was bluffing, but now that he vindicated Dao, he knew that Meng Zhan didn't bluff at all. Every sentence of the primordial chaos chant was very deep and contained all sorts of cultivation laws. No wonder it had no element. Different people would have different results cultivating this. Yi Mo was very grateful to Lotus Glory sect. He hadn't been there, but he could feel how well they protected Mu Xiaoyun. Otherwise, with her cultivation method, she would have been devoured to the bones. Not only did they not greed after her cultivation method, they were also protecting her. Yi Mo only used an extreme grade flying spirit artifact, but in his hands it was no weaker than an immortal artifact. In half a day, a medium-sized cultivation city appeared in his eyes. Qianbei, this is Xian High City. My husband is from Baiyan sect. Not long ago, he died in the Xinqiang sect tournament. We moved out from the sect and now live in the city. Hao Qiuming suppressed her shock and said, after chatting with Yi Mo for this long, she could feel Yi Mo was an amicable person. So she gradually let loose and wasn't that scared of Yi Mo. But when Yi Mo flew this spirit artifact and came to Xian High City in half a day, she was too shocked. Even extreme grade spirit artifact would take a few days to come here from the gray forest. Hearing this, Yi Mo suddenly thought of something and asked, Qiongying, have you heard of a woman called Qi Wanqing? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip, you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2070 Lift of a Hand. Chapter 2070 Lift of a Hand, how Qiongying shook her head. Martial brother Yi, I haven't heard of her. Do you know which sect she is from? I don't know. Yi Mo felt sad. He didn't find Qi Wanqing on Luo Yu continent and hoped she would be here. Don't worry, Martial brother Yi. The continent is having sect tournament. This tournament would go for half a month. Almost all the sects would participate. If Qi Wanqing is in a sect, Martial brother, Yi can find out about her. How Qiongming quickly said. Yi Mo thought when his power recovered, his spirit sense can easily cover the entire continent. How could he be scared? He wouldn't find Qi Wanqing then. You said your husband died in this tournament. Yi Mo asked. Yes. How Qiongming said. Yi Mo thought for a moment. Let's go find a place to rest at the XN High City, and then take me to the sect tournament. Yi Mo needed some time to recover. He didn't know how long he had been rolling around for in the void. He looked okay on the surface, but without the help of the chaos tree, he wouldn't even be able to get up. Half a day later, Yi Mo's spirit sense had recovered to 10,000 kilometers. He got up and decided to go to the sect tournament now. Just when Yi Mo wanted to call Hao Qiongming, he saw a dark-faced, nascent soul cultivator standing at her door. There was a slap print on Hao Qiongming's face. The little boy stared angrily at the cultivator. What happened? Yi Mo walked to Hao Qiongming's door. Martial brother Yi. Hao Qiongming called. Hao Yi glared at the cultivator and said, This Mengai tricked my sister and sold a fake rune to her. Now he's beating her. Yi Mo's face sunk and asked the cultivator, Is that so? Before the cultivator could talk, Hao Qiongming said, Martial brother Yi, let's go in and talk. It has nothing to do with him. The cultivator sneered at Yi Mo. You need to be capable to sleep a widow. I've already decided she's mine. Piss off. Really? A mere nascent soul dared to be cocky in front of him. He didn't even bother to ask about this, and just threw out a fireball. Ha! The cultivator saw this and laughed. He didn't expect there would be someone to throw fireballs. This fireball wouldn't even create a speck of dust on him. Even if he didn't attack, Yi Mo would be dead too. Those who dared to fight in the Xian High City Spirit Rest Tower would be dead for sure. The city strictly forbids magic artifact. If violated, death. Hao Qiongming saw Yi Mo dare to use fireball, her face went pale. As long as Yi Mo used magic art, then no matter how much right they would be killed. Plus, a fireball wouldn't hurt at all. The cultivator only laughed twice and couldn't laugh anymore. He found he couldn't move at all. He saw his body quickly disintegrate in the flame, and in the blink of an eye, everything including his nascent soul and storage ring disappeared. After the fireball was gone, Yi Mo waved his hand, and the dust disappeared. It was as though nothing was there. Hao Qiongming stared dazedly at this and couldn't speak for a long time. This was too shocking. What fireball could annihilate a nascent soul? She had never seen such terrifying fireball. I wasted some time. Qiongming, take me to the sect tournament. Yi Mo patted Yu Hui's head and said, Martial brother Yi. Hao Qiongming said hardly, and then said, Meng Guangji is Xian High City Rune Master Association leader's disciple. The Rune Master Association is very powerful in the Xian High City, and Duan Ganyuan is Truth Realization State, Middle Stage, Qianbei. We killed Meng Guangji. We probably can't leave the city. Yi Mo understood how she felt and dazed into reminiscence. When he was fighting his way up in the Luo Yu cultivation realm, it was like this too. He killed a Tian Aufing and began to hide everywhere. To Hao Qiuming, she probably wouldn't even be able to leave after offending this association. But to him, even if he slammed the entire city to the grounds, no one would dare to say a thing. Yi Emo shook his head. If it was a strange character divine emperor, he might really palm the city flat. Power was everything in the cultivation realm and immortal realm, but when the power was strong to a certain degree with no restriction, it was terror. If the world laws are complete, the immortal realm and divine Tao realm are completed, would it be as easy to come back to the cultivation realm? Yi Emo murmured, if one day I have the capability, I will perfect the divine Tao realm and the immortal realm. I won't let people come back to low-level realms so easily. Yi Emo said slowly. He didn't want to see high realm immortals come to the cultivation realm or mortal realm and slaughter everything. Seeing Yi Emo daze, Hao Qiuming was worried too. After a long while, she said, Meng Guangji saw my husband die and wanted to use me as a sex slave. I said I wanted to go to Zhao Shadow Range, so he sold me a soul-calling rune. Later I realized it was fake. He thought I wouldn't be able to cross the gray forest and would come back to him for help. However, I have a top-level defense rune and crossed the gray forest. Yi Emo nodded. This person deserves to die. Let's go. Hao Qiuming's face was pale. We probably can't leave. The people from the Rune Master Association wouldn't let us leave. Yi Emo, indeed, saw a few people coming. He just smiled but didn't talk. You can't leave indeed. You dare to kill Master Meng in Xian High City. If I don't slice you to mince, then you raised me up. A skinny man said, I don't raise dogs like you. Yi Emo said, and threw another fireball. A mere cauldron-filling state dared to be cocky in front of him. Seeing this, Hao Qiuming dazed again. She forgot to tell Yi Emo that this person was one of the 3 masters of the city, a powerful cauldron-filling state just below the city lord and association leader. How could someone like this be dealt with a fireball? But Yi Emo threw it out already. Seeing Yi Emo used a fireball at him, the cauldron-filling state laughed like Meng Guangji. Ever since he became a golden core state, he had never seen anyone use fireball at him. Today was quite fresh. Someone dared to use a fireball against a cauldron-filling state peak stage cultivator. There was such a joke in the world, but his ending was the same as Meng Guangji. He only laughed twice and stopped. Then he stared at Yi Emo with disbelief, but he could no longer speak. His body turned to dust in this small fireball. The few body condensation state cultivators next to him looked dazedly as the dust flew away, not daring to say a word. I'm going to leave the city. Call the Rune Master Association leader here. If by the time I get to the city gates he still isn't here, then he won't need to come ever. Yi Emo glanced at them and said, Yes, Qin Bei. These cultivators reacted and quickly left. Hao Qiuming's heart was skipping fast. Before it was due to terror of the Rune Master Association, but now because Yi Emo easily burned a cauldron-filling state with a fireball. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. As for the 10-star pill city, that was because it had too many pill master and truth realization states. The biggest secret realm of Shinqiong, Realm Shin Truth Spirit Grounds, open every millennia. There are limited spots each time. In order to better distribute the spots, the big sects would have a sect tournament every time before the secret realm opened. Because the spots are so precious, almost every sect would come. The sects would send their sect members to compete and get spots based on their results. Yi Emo realized no wonder it went on for a month or two. just how many people would be coming to such tournament. The sect tournament was very far from Exanhai City, but under Yimo's control, the extreme grade flying spirit artifact had surpassed low-grade immortal artifact. In less than half a day, Yimo saw the tournament scene with his spirit sense. How long till the tournament? Yimo looked at the densely cluttered cultivators. It spanned almost a few hundred kilometers. There were more merchant towers and marketplaces mixed within. In about 10 days, Hao Qiuming quickly said. She saw the tournament grounds, too. Yimo took out a storage ring and gave it to Hao Qiuming. This is for you. Thanks for bringing me all this way. Thank you, Qianbei. Hao Qiuming quickly took the storage ring and thanked. Yimo liked Hao Qiuming's straightforward attitude. He thought about it and said, Mu Xiaoyan is my wife. I'm going to Lotus Glory Sect to see. If you want, I can introduce you and your brother into the sect. Lotus Glory Sect. That was the dream of every cultivator. How could Hao Qiuming not want to go? She dazed for a moment and wanted to thank Yimo. At the same time, she thought, no wonder. Only someone like Martial Brother Yi deserved Goddess Mu. Yimo saw her face and knew she really wanted to go. He waved his hand. No need to thank me. I_LG to the main stage and ask about Wanqing. Afterwards, we'll go to Lotus Glory Sect. Wait for me here. Then Yimo dashed up and landed in the center stage amongst the millions of people. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2072, Find Qi, Wanqing. Chapter 2072, Find Qi, Wanqing, Shun Truth Spirit Grounds, was the biggest secret realm of Shunqiong continent. It had the most resources too. Sects big or small would come to this tournament regardless of how far they were. With all these sects here, of course, there would be many truth realization states. There were even quite some truth realization state peak stages. As the main stage of the tournament, there were more than 20 truth realization states sitting here. No one would dare to come up without permission. As soon as Yimo landed on this stage, a few truth realization states surrounded him. This main stage was the place to announce the results. It was symbolic of the honor of all the sects on this continent. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 20 truth realization state cultivators sitting on the side of the stage to watch the tournament. Yimo, this unknown cultivator, dared to just charge up here, was asking to die. When these truth realization state came up, they said nothing and just chose to attack. No matter what Yimo's motive was, good or bad, charging up the main stage like this was a huge mistake. Yimo sneered and waved his hand. These few truth realization state were held by this invisible power and thrown back to their seats. To outsiders, it seemed like these truth realization states got up and then wanted to sit back down. I'm borrowing the main stage. If you dare to be rude again, I will kill you. Yimo said coldly. These few truth realization states shivered. Even those truth realization states who didn't get up shivered. What master was this? Since when did the cultivation realm have such powerful master? He easily waved his hand and threw back a few truth realization states like this. Immediately, everyone realized that Yimo wasn't simple. The 20 or so truth realization states glanced at each other and didn't dare to talk. They all saw shock and disbelief in each other's eyes. They all thought of the one thing. This cultivator wasn't from the cultivation realm, nor did he hide his power. They really couldn't see his cultivation level. This person probably wasn't from the cultivation realm, but from the immortal realm. Almost everyone saw Yimo on the stage. The main stage was so obvious and was usually used to announce important things and the tournament results. Now that Yi Mo appeared, he immediately caught everyone's attention. Yi Mo said loudly, "Dao friends from Shenqiong continent. I'm Yi Mo. Today I came here to find a friend. She's called Qi Wanqing. Everyone have a look at this image." Yi Mo's voice was heard even hundreds of km away. He waved out Qi Wanqing's image and even drew Little Wolf on her shoulder. "Dao friends, if anyone knows where my friend is or can provide me with any clues I can satisfy any wish you have in cultivation, I will be waiting at the main stage for 2 hours. Within this time, anyone who has news can come to me. Even if you want to join the best 9-star sect or truth carrot pill, I can satisfy you." At first, the cultivators didn't know what Yi Mo's reward was, but when Yi Mo said that, the scene erupted. Truth carrot pill was pill for disaster transformation state to reach truth realization state. Yi Mo even had such pill, then wouldn't the rest of the pills be extremely easy? Immediately, everyone was asking about Qi Wanqing. Yi Mo then turned around and looked at the shocked 20 or so truth realization states. Seeing Yi Mo look at them, they quickly got up. Yi Mo stopped them from bowing. "Everyone sit down." After everyone sat down, Yi Mo asked, "Who here is from Lotus Glory Sect?" A woman who seemed younger than 40 got up quickly and said, "Wanbei Guangjia is from Lotus Glory Sect. Please order anything Qianbei." Guangjian felt nervous. Yi Mo's cultivation level was clearly above truth realization state, level 9 peak. He was definitely an immortal in the cultivation realm. Although immortals rarely came to the cultivation realm, but there were some. There were immortals coming back in the legends, but when their power would be suppressed to be just one level above truth realization state. However, Yi Mo's power was clear many levels above truth realization state. Yi Mo nodded, "Sit down. I want to ask you, did Mu Xiaoyun ascend from Lotus Glory Sect?" "Yes, Qianbei. Elder Mu is our Lotus Glory Sect member." "Qianbei," Guangjie said worriedly. Mu Xiaoyun had already ascended, and this Qianbei was clearly an immortal. Did he come to find Mu Xiaoyun? Did something happen to her in the immortal realm? Did he come to get revenge from Lotus Glory Sect? Mu Xiaoyun had always been very kind. Yi Mo was a bit lost, as though remembering the days he was with Mu Xiaoyun. After a while, he recovered. "Tell me about how Mu Xiaoyun joined the sect, and what she did at the sect." Guang Jie agreed, and recounted the process of Mu Xiaoyun joining the sect in detail. When Mu Xiaoyun came to the continent, she encountered the sect members' intake. She had joined a sect once before, and knew that joining a sect in this strange place could get her protection. She was lucky to be chosen by the sect, as she was a pure, wood spirit root. She was treated like a treasure. Mu Xiaoyun didn't defy everyone's hopes, and soon ascended to the immortal realm, becoming the second most talented person on the continent in 1,000 years. Mu Xiaoyun's master, Guang Lai's martial sister, ascended to the immortal realm decades ago. Hearing Mu Xiaoyun's glory on the continent, Yi Mo felt happy for her. He got up and bowed to Guang Jie. "I'll thank the sect for Xiaoyun." "Qianbei, I don't care to accept this." Guang Jie quickly got up. Even an idiot could tell that Yi Mo was close to Mu Xiaoyun. She suddenly remembered her martial sister say that Xiaoyun was looking for her husband. Was this Yi Mo, Xiaoyun's husband in the mortal realm? How was this possible? "No, you deserve it." Chapter 2074, Nightmare. Chapter 2074, Nightmare. "Lu Zhai, I have a good deal here. Do you want to take it?" A sharp voice sounded by the green-robed female cultivator's ear. The person talking was extremely robust. If one didn't hear his voice, one would never believe such a man spoke this sharply. This female cultivator looked at this man and shook her head. "Brother Chow, I won't go." I have other things. You Guzi go first. Brother Chow laughed. Lu Zhai, just listen to me. There's nothing more important than this. I said, I've already arranged to meet someone. Lu Zhai frowned. The male cultivator asked, Who did you arrange to meet? I'll help you push it off. She arranged to meet me. Yimo's voice sounded. Hearing this, Lu Zhai immediately stood up in shock. She got news that Yimo was more than a few million kms away. There was no way he was here in such a short time. If what the people from Duan Kong Ling Island said was true, then this Qianbei was too scary. Who the fuck are you? The Chow guy just said these words and felt his body go light. Then he was thrown out. When he landed, he found he was face down on the ground in a small gully outside the town. He got up in terror and quickly released his flying magic artifact and fled. He didn't dare to come into this town again. This person easily threw a golden core state peak stage like him out of the town. What power was this? He had never heard of such master. You're Lu Zhai. Yi Mo suppressed his excitement and set up a sound barrier restriction as he sat opposite her. Yes, Qianbei, Wanbei is Lu Zhai. Lu Zhai resisted her shock and terror. Yi Mo easily threw Chow Wenming out. Such power was unheard of. I'm Yi Mo. I'm Qi Wanqing's friend. Tell me where she is. Yi Mo asked. Lu Zhai looked experienced. Her look was ordinary, but her eyes were extremely pretty. Lu Zhai showed a disappointed look and bowed. So Qianbei is Yi Mo. Wanqing had mentioned Qianbei more than once. She said she came to find Qianbei, but she never was able to. Sigh. Seeing this, Yimo's heart sunk. He had a bad feeling. Lu Zhai, tell me where she is now. Wanqing had been with me. We've been striving in Tuomi mountain ranges. It's tiring, but we both reached golden core state. Wanqing's talent was much better than mine. If she didn't use most of her earnings to buy face-preserving pills, she might even be hollow spirit state now. Yi Mo really wanted to listen to Wanqing's experiences, but he still interrupted Lu Zhai and said, Tell me this later. Where is she now? Wanqing is gone. Lu Zhai felt Yi Mo's desperation and worry. Suddenly, she felt Wanqing didn't wait for nothing. What? Yi Mo's face went pale, and even his head became a little dizzy. He could long feel Qi Wanqing's feelings for him at the forest in the border. When he heard that Qi Wanqing came out of the Xin Jia Mountain teleportation formation, Yi Mo guessed that she was probably looking for him. Chapter 2075 Void Pin. Chapter 2075 Void Pin. Yi Mo's spirit sense just scanned in, and a tall, dark gray figure appeared in his spirit sense. Grr. That's it. It's already level 7. Although Lu Zhai knew that Yi Mo was probably not scared of this level 7 wolf, she was still nervous. The wolf looked 3 meters tall, and only had one eye that shot out dark red beams. The eye didn't charge over, as Lu Zhai thought. Instead, it stared at Yi Mo carefully, clearly sensing Yi Mo wasn't ordinary. Yi Mo suddenly grabbed at his side. A huge rock shot into Yi Mo's hands. The wolf subconsciously retreated a few meters, but it soon stopped as though feeling that even if Yi Mo threw the rock at him, it wouldn't affect him at all. Lu Zhai also stared at Yi Mo in shock. She didn't understand why Yi Mo grabbed the stone. Could stones kill a level 7 spirit beast? Yi Mo ignored her and threw out a ball of flame. The huge stone was instantly turned into 10 rock spears. When Lu Zhai's spirit sense scanned the 5 rock spears, she opened her mouth wide in shock. Those spears were already spirit artifact. Was her eyes blind? If any rock on the side of the road could be turned into spirit artifact in the matter of seconds, then spirit artifacts would be all over this world. The wolf clearly wasn't dumb. When it stared at the spears, second eyes instantly narrowed. At the same time, he turned, but then the wolf saw that it couldn't even more, much less turn. It had some intelligence. The dark red was gone in instant-second eyes. Instead, it was filled with horror. It kept making whimpering sounds as though begging for mercy. Yimo's 5 spears suddenly shot out. The wolf seemed to have been pulled up into the air as the 5 spears penetrated it in the air. There was no support. The 5 spears just pinned the wolf in the air. Blood fell along the spear tip to the ground. The wolf howled in pain. Lu Zhai forgot to even talk. She guessed that the wolf would be no match for Yimo, but it couldn't even resist at all, and was nailed in midair. Even truth realization state, Qian Bei wouldn't have such crazy acts. Why didn't that wolf fall? Where was the 5 spears locked onto? Yimo suddenly said, once your cultivation reaches a certain level, any void can be seen. If you're willing, you can tear open void and head to another void. It's too early for you, but sooner or later you will understand. Let's go now. Take me to the snow plateau. This wolf hunted Wanqing. It can wait to die. Yes. Lu Zhai didn't understand what Yimo said at all, but she knew Yimo's power was probably beyond some truth realization state peak stages. Seeing this, Lu Zhai felt more secure, and she sped up. Even so, Yimo felt she was too slow. He couldn't calm down before he found where Qi Wanqing went missing, so he put his hand on her waist and said, "You point the way, I'll take you." Lu Zhai had been alone all these years and had never had a man hold her waist. When Yimo held her, her body went tense, but she soon understood that Yimo wasn't trying to take advantage of her. With Yimo's help, they sped up quickly. Lu Zhai felt that as long as she pointed the way, she could fly in the ranges, and she didn't encounter a single spirit beast, nor those gravity whirlpools. As Lu Zhai got used to this speed, she felt Yimo send her essence qi, that slightly warm essence qi, went into her meridians, picking up her speed, and make her feel something else. This feeling became more and more real as she flew. Eventually she felt her legs go soft and breathing become heavier. At this moment, a boundless snow plateau appeared before them. Yimo let go of Lu Zhai and asked, "Is this the snow plateau?" Lu Zhai stumbled and almost fell to the ground, but she quickly covered this up and said awkwardly, "Yes, it's here. This is the border of the Tua Mi Snow Plateau. We went in from here and went straight. After about half a day, Wanqing was swept away by the snow whirlpool." Lu Zhai calmed down, and there was a sliver of sadness in her tone. Yimo nodded and took out a cultivation home magic artifact. "Stay in here and wait for me. I'm going in to find Wanqing. Remember, even if level 9 spirit beast or truth realization state cultivator comes, they wouldn't be able to do anything to you as long as you don't leave this cultivation home." "I understand," Lu Zhai said. Yimo gave her a storage ring. "There's some spirit stones and pills. You can break through to nascent soul here. No one will disturb you." Ha! Yimo had dashed into the snow plateau already. The pills inside were made by small ginseng. Small ginseng couldn't concoct a mortal pill, but could concoct some spirit pills. As for outside the cultivation home, Yimo set up an immortal formation for recognizing Lu Zhai's qi. Seeing Yimo disappear, Lu Zhai shook her head. Yimo's cultivation level was top level, but he deigned to understand how hard it was for low-level cultivators to reach nascent soul. It wasn't just a matter of spirit stones, but she was hopeful of Yimo's storage ring. When she scanned her spirit sense in, she almost dropped the storage ring. This storage ring was too insane. There was a bottle of Chao Huan pill. That was a grade 1 heaven pill. Chao Huan pill was used to break through to nascent soul. Even one would need her to work for countless years, but there was an entire bottle here. Nascent essence pill, blue carrot pill, hollow meridian pill, break spirit pill. She was completely dumb and even forgot there were stacks of spirit stones. With this many cultivation resources, she didn't need to stay at Tuomi mountain ranges. Yeah, break through to nascent soul. Lu Zhai couldn't resist it anymore, and quickly got ready for solitary cultivation. The Tuomi snow plateau had boundless snow peaks, snow ditches, and cliffs. The bigger danger here was gravity. Even truth realization state can't fly here. If one sunk into a snow whirlpool, he would have to climb up slowly. When Yi Emo charged into the plain, his spirit sense spread out all over. His spirit sense had recovered to 50,000 kilometers range. If his spirit sense completely recovered now, he would grab this entire snow plateau and melt it. A few million km of snow was no bigger than a palm for a Tao molding divine emperor. A pretty woman saw Yi Emo dashing around in the snow plateau. Next to her was a handsome male cultivator. They stood there as though there was no danger. Clearly, they were truth realization state. This person's power is so high, he can walk like he's flying, the handsome male cultivator exclaimed. Martial brother Jiaqing. He went into the snow plains, the pretty woman said in amazement. But soon, Yi Emo dashed into a snow valley and disappeared from their spirit sense. Yi Emo saw the two-truth realization state, but he didn't care. With Yi Emo going around so quick, snow mists, avalanches, and whirlpools increased. Even these two-truth realization states had to move away from Yi Emo's place. Yi, let's go. It's probably a truth realization state peak stage master. The handsome man said. The female shook her head. Wait, I want to see such master. The man cared about the woman a lot and said nothing. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip, you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters.